We're shedding our masks and breaking down walls. Hell, we may even drop our drawers. That's right. We're going Commando with Angela and Dana. Hi, my name is Dana Sardano, and this is Angela DiMarco, and we are going Commando. Going Commando is a little show that we put together because we understand the importance of authenticity. We understand the importance of being who you are, embracing and reveling in your gifts and bringing them to the world. And we're hoping by doing so, we encourage you to do the same. Good morning, Miss Angela, on a Sunday morning. We're breaking the rules.
I know. It feels really strange. Everything's off. When like my schedule's off, I 5-year-old schedules, if he gets taken off his schedule and they like set all these expectations.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, oh, whatever. Yeah, we'll record on Sunday. It'll be no problem. But then it was like chaos getting here into my office.
Do you want to share? Do you want to share the last thing you said to me before we about going to the bathroom?
Oh, that I pooped so fast I don't think I wiped well.
She's like, I pooped so fast I don't think I wiped well. And go. Okay.
You're welcome. I'm single.
Tell all your friends. Beat them up with sticks.
Oh no, because I hate making you wait. Honestly, I hate making anybody wait. I really try to be respectful of everybody's time, and I like to commit to my word. So at 10:22, there was chaos. And I'm like, listen, I need like another 10 minutes. Blah, blah. And so that bought me till 10:32 or whatever, till 10:40. I don't know. I came rolling in on 2 wheels. So I'm sorry. Miss Scusi.
No. It's funny. I just had this conversation with Yaya the other night. My kids went to the fair, and when they go with other people, I don't have control over the times and the this and the that. And so we had some issues with her getting home the time she said she was going to get home. But she called me at every turn. She's supposed to be home at 9:30. She called me at 9 o'clock. She's like, it's not looking good. And then I wound up going to pick her up. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I said, you communicated with me the whole way. It's the sitting and the waiting and the wondering. Oh my God, that'll drive you to madness. You know what I mean? Yes. So whatever, you told me you were going to be late, and I sat and I fucked around on my phone for a little bit, and here we are.
Yeah, no, that's the thing with Maddie too. Like she always had a curfew, but it was always like, just tell me what's going on so I don't like sit here worried, So anyway, So, hi.
Hi. So what are we doing today, Mama?
Well, first I wanted to do a shout out. To my giant boobs. And I'm so fucking sexy.
For those of you who are not watching, by the way.
I'm single, guys.
But if you're not watching, oh my God. Angela was showing the camera her shirt and her giant titties. So go on.
Giant titties. Okay. So I looked on Facebook. I rarely go on Facebook these days. And I noticed that there was a couple of people from my graduating high school class throwing together a get together, some kind of reunion. 35 years, 40 years, 800 years. I don't know. And I was like, oh, I missed it. I probably wouldn't have gone anyway because, kids' life. But one kid was making these shirts. And I was like, yeah, I'll buy a shirt. And it says I'm from Garden City, Long Island. So shout out to Garden City High School, class of 92. And I just wanted to because we're going to talk about like our people, but I wanted to talk about roots for 1 second, just where we come from. Mm-hmm. And I am always proud to say that I'm from Garden City because I live on Long Island in a different town. And everyone's like, oh, where are you from? Because it's like, it's like 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon or whatever. Like everybody knows somebody from somewhere.
Yeah.
But the town that I grew up in was very, it was like an upper middle class town. Beautiful. We lived in an apartment in this upper middle class town. My mom worked really hard to keep us there. And I had the quintessential high school experience. Now, mixed with that was all of my trauma and whatever. So but I had the cheering. I had the love of my life was on the football team, and I was a cheerleader, and he was giant and I was itty bitty, and we were so cute together, and I would wear his jacket like a dress, and homecoming dances and like parades and like just like and theater. Like it was all so I had such a good high school experience, and it really helped because my home life was so shitty. And my like acting out was so shitty. So for all of the people I affected, I sincerely apologize. I'm nine-stepping y'all right now. Forgive me for I did not know what I was doing. But despite the home life and the lack of as you always say, being raised by wolves, I had at least I had that of my childhood that I could look
Yeah.
back on and say I grew up in this amazing town with really, really wonderful people, honestly. And I'm just really I'm really proud to say that I'm from Garden City. So I just want to do a shout out to my peeps, and that's it.
I just want to respond to that because I always kind of understood this, but now that you verbalize this, it makes a lot more sense to me. You live now in Bayport, which is a great town.
Yeah.
And you're in the process, anybody who's ever listened to anything that we're doing, Angela's in the process of a divorce and, and a lot of question marks about, who's doing what with the house and who's going where and how. And your commitment to you staying in a town that you're staying in. So your daughter as well, but she's older and she's doing her thing, but that your son has that is very telling. It's admirable, but it's very telling. And it's also funny, we don't realize that we repeat our childhood in ways that if we're mindful, we're trying to create what we didn't have. If we're not mindful, we often create what we had that we didn't want, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So one of the things for me is I keep wanting to, oh my God, I love my house. I love everything about, where I am right now. But my next move, keep talking about moving in the mountains. And I'm like, I got to be on a lake, got to be on a body of water, because that's how I grew up. And in my head, I want Yaya, who will probably be 20 by the time we move, but I want Yaya to have that same experience of catching tadpoles and doing this and doing that. But really, it's my inner child that wants that,
Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny how it's so important to us to either recreate for our children these experiences, or, like I said, or not.
Or not. Yeah, totally. It's like mine's like mixed with a parent who's aware of what's going on and involved. Like I remember, God, so football was a big thing for school, and I was cheering, and all my friends were involved.
Yeah.
And our team went from we were 39 and 1 in my 4 years. So basically we were like championship, all the way. Like it almost got boring by the time I was a senior. I was like, yay, won again. But Coach Flatley, I mean, he was a ball buster. He really worked these guys, but he did such a good job with them. They were such upstanding boys that he had on his team,
Mm-hmm.
And on Saturday nights, one parent, again, like upper middle class, affluent community, one parent would host the entire football team, their families, the cheerleaders, all the people support. They would host a big dinner every Saturday night. The guys wore jackets and ties. We had to get dressed up. It was like the whole thing. And everybody would bring parents except for me. My mom was like, see ya. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then I was like, I called all my friends' parents, moms and dads. I'm like, hi, Mom. Can I sleep over again? So thank you to everybody who let me crash on couches. Jessica, Beth. Oh my God.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Sorry, flashbacks. So today, last week we were talking about how important our relationship is, finding having a consigliere, a person you can go to, a co-founder. But what we're going to talk about today is finding your people, right?
Find your people.
Find your people. And this is about your future buyers, your community, your clients, your people that you work with.
Oh my God, your friends.
Your friends, everything.
Your significant other. Find your people.
Yeah. Like one thing that happened right at launch. So we were talking this whole season on purpose. And we're talking about my book, Uniquely You, update number 52, The Birth of a Bright-Eyed Entrepreneur. I really should have come up with a shorter title, but
I think I busted out with that part. I think I was like, you have to call it The Birth of a Bright-Eyed. So my
otherwise it doesn't mean anything. No, it's okay. I know it's like a mouthful. It's becoming sing-songy though. But so the book was a bunch of emails that I sent as I was building the business, and also personally growing, professionally growing, just a whole journey. And then it ended right around the time we were going to launch. So we launched on June 26th, 2022. So the book goes up to that. That was update number 52. We're about to launch. Here we go. Yay, you guys rock. Thanks so much. And spoiler alert, that's the end. Well, the night before launch on Sunday, I basically had, I hit the button and had Chernobyl with my entire family. So like my mom, my aunt, my brothers, my sisters, my subsequently the entire side of my mom's family.
Yeah, in-laws, all of it.
Everything. And I went to bed on Sunday night having cut off all of my ties with family and anybody associated with that family. And I woke up Monday morning on the day of our launch, and I got a giant bouquet of flowers from Dana and Kristen. And it was beautiful. It was overwhelming. It was like taller. I just was like blown away by it because I felt so broken from the night before. And here was this huge day. And then there was the kudos board that you guys put together for me. And it was like, oh my God, I'll put a link to it because I still have it. I look at it from time to time. But it was everybody who was involved sharing a message, a note, a video, or whatever, talking about how awesome I was. And it was so overwhelming. And it was just like, obviously the people that were raising me and in my life were not my people, because I haven't heard from them since. Like, it's been over 2 years. I haven't heard from any of them. And it's okay. It's really, like, I promise it's okay. I'm not just saying that to sugarcoat it. Like, I realized, I saw a meme the other day. It was like, the peace I'm okay being the villain in your story because of the peace I feel in my life is worth it. So I'm very happy. I'm very at peace. And I've been able to see with distance what wasn't working, and work on the parts of me that were broken because of those relationships. But that was like, I mean, talk about yin and yang and opposites and like full spectrum, like, yeah. It was crazy. But you leading the charge on that kudos board and the flowers that you're so fucking pissed off because there wasn't enough purple. They weren't orange
enough. Or was it purple or orange? It was an orange. It wasn't orange. It was supposed to be purple and orange. Oh yeah. Oh no, that was like a thing. And then I called, I made them send another one and they charged me for the second one. I was like, okay. Can I go spiritual for a second?
Please.
About all this? Because I feel like anybody who is watching or listening to us right now has probably either had an experience with a family member or a close friend that it went south and they became estranged, or they're in relationships that are uncomfortable and, their siblings are pressing their buttons, or they can't have a good relationship with their mother or father. And it's very, very uncomfortable. I think I'm speaking for the majority, if I'm being completely honest.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah. So from a spiritual perspective, everybody's got their own beliefs, but I believe that we are creators of our reality. And I believe that we reincarnate. And when we come to this planet, we are choosing a reality that helps us grow as individuals. And we choose environments when we're coming here. I could get into a whole thing, how we map out the whole thing, but let's just keep it simple. We choose the environment, we choose the people, we have soul groups that we travel with, and we have all aspects of ourselves that are either in balance or out of balance. So when we're in spirit and we're choosing to come to earth or coming to choose to be born, there's aspects of our souls that we already know we're going to work on. So if I have an aspect of my soul, let's just say it's worthiness, right? I never really understood my worthiness or balanced that, where it wasn't arrogance and it wasn't, complete unworthiness. I am going to choose family that trigger me in a sense that I am forced to reconcile that imbalance. Mm-hmm. So I come into this life, and I'll just use my personal example. My mother's distant. My father's aggressive. My brother's a fucking douche.
Dickhead.
But I'm I'm healed. I'm healed. No, but my brother was just awful to me. And then I had family members that really didn't care much for me. And then I had a couple family members that showed me what it looked like to see me, showed me what it looked like it cared. So now I'm in this environment. We joke about being raised by wolves and stuff like that. As a child, I'm carrying all these irrational beliefs and developing all these coping mechanisms and all of these unhealthy patterns as a result of that. But I've had my entire life to learn to work through that, not to become entrenched in all of it and to become bigger, better, stronger. So my soul can evolve to now I have a place of worthiness, and now I'm this, that, and the other. Yeah. What we unfortunately do as human beings is we are so focused on, again, my brother being a douche. I'm still saying it. I'm 52 and I've done all the work. You know what I mean? But we're so focused on that and we carry the pains of that. We forget or maybe we don't buy into, hey, wait, this is of my making. This is about the evolution of my soul. This is about me being bigger, better, stronger. I forgive them in a way that, not that they did wrong, but like they did their part. Like it's hard to buy into when you're still angry. But if you could remove yourself and see how much you've grown from it, I could say, you know what? My mother was distant, but it was necessary for me to develop my independence.
Yes.
My father was aggressive, but it was necessary for me to learn how to reconcile my imbalance of being quick to anger by learning what it felt like by being on the receiving end.
Yes.
To learn forgiveness and all of those things. So I just wanted to put it in perspective because we all have experienced this in one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, well said. And I always love how you say it like okay, like we're backstage, right? And you're like, okay, you're gonna play this part, you're gonna leave me, you're gonna die on me really young. It's gonna suck. You'll be fine. You got this. And we give everybody their roles, right? And it's basically like my entire family that night was their final curtain on their part of that story, right? It was like kind of like they were like, okay, you're dismissed from your job. Now you go on to do your other part, your other jobs. You've got other work to do.
Yeah.
And again, there's no like bitterness or resentment because it hurt, of course.
Yeah.
But
growth hurts.
Yeah. It's like, coming out of the birth canal, babies don't cry because it's fun.
Because their head isn't squeezed. I know. Yeah, we're screaming, they're screaming. We've talked about this before. There's blood, there's poop. It's a mess. It's not a pretty process. We're not in the woods with crystals under the moonlight. It is bloody, poopy nonsense.
So I think that because I have this understanding, I buy into it. I buy into that we're here to grow different aspects of our soul so that we can experience different aspects and different things. Like, motherhood is a big one for me this time, getting all kinds of different kinds of motherhood experiences. Yeah. And it makes it easier to find your people when you know that like everybody's here for a reason, season, or a lifetime, right? Like it's okay. Like, to look at these experiences and say like, okay, that served me well by either teaching me something or like, showing me joy or being that like beacon for me to have to know what it's like you have the family that shows you what a good marriage would look like or a way to treat children looks like. And you're like, oh, that's what I think it's supposed to, that validates it,
Yeah.
And it makes it, even in business, people come into our lives and it's not for, we've had quite a few people coming and going as we've pivoted and changed and done what we've done. And there's no like anger or resentment towards it. It's just at some point they filled a role or a need. And then it was symbiotic, like it wasn't serving them, wasn't serving us. So they move on. Yeah. And, or the people come and then they go and they're quiet for a little while and then they pop back in. You're like, oh, hey, and it's all okay. It's just like, it's like about allowing that ebb and flow without trying to control it.
I'm so glad you said that because as you're talking, my thoughts were we have a tendency to attach to relationships and to have an expectation of what we think that they should look like. And because we have beliefs around it, about loyalty and sticking it out and working through thick and thin and all that. Mother. Yeah. But even in the business sense, you know what I mean? Like if it's a problem, you're going to work it out. But again, like you mentioned earlier, if relationships are a reason, a season, and a lifetime, which I totally believe, we have to be able to recognize, what is working for us and what is not. Can we adjust it? Can we alter it? No, can we pivot or do we move on and really just be more objective about it? I was, the other day I was working with, in an intuitive guidance session, and I've been working with this woman for some time now. And before we even opened, I said to her, I know that you love working with me. Like, I know you look forward to it. Like, I know this. I look forward to it too. And I know when we're done, you feel really, really good after. And I feel really good after too. I said, but there's going to come a point that you're going to be like when your appointment comes up, you're going to be like, because we see each other like every 2 weeks. And when you start to have that feeling, do not disregard it. We know now our season is coming to an end. It's okay. And I made the joke. I'm like, I'm not a chiropractor. I'm not looking to get you to pay for my boat. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what this is about. This is about recognizing the signs. And if you're like, oh, I don't know, or you feel forced, if you're excited, then it's for you. Then I'm for you. Then the relationship's for you. Then your people are for you. Mm-hmm. Right. And Angela, you and me, especially, like, we have our moments where we disagree, or our moments where things aren't, we're not on top of the world. That's life. That's the way it is. But the moment it's like that continuously with with effort to change, and it's not, then it may be time to move on.
Right.
We're indoctrinated, especially in marriage. We're indoctrinated with this till death do us part. What the fuck is that all about? Till death do us part. Like, listen, I'm all about commitment and loyalty, but till death do us part, it's a little crazy.
I know. Especially when you go into it one person, and if you're not both growing, you
just said growing. Notice how you did your hands apart.
I know. Well, I was just trying to think too, like there's also that the connotation that if we grow, we're going to grow apart. But I don't think that's true.
No, you can grow together or apart.
Well, I think if one person is growing, that's the apartness. If one person's staying here, like in my current situation, that's how you grow apart, right? If you're growing together, you're learning the same things, and you're expanding, and you're getting closer and closer because you have that intimacy as you're growing together, because you feel safe to express. Like you and Rob, like you guys are growing together on parallel paths. We're not here to walk the same path with anybody. It's our own journey. But what's happening with my situation is that I'm going like this, and he's staying down here. And I'm like, I don't like it down there. It doesn't feel good. I want to go up here.
Yeah.
You've changed. Thanks.
Right. And I talk about a lot of this in woo-woo, you know that. But that goes for all of our relationships. The moment I call it the ick, which unfortunately has a very negative connotation, but the moment I start to get about somebody, you start to go, okay, again, you want to get spiritual, we're not in resonance, we're not the same frequency, but people would say, the layman would say, we don't have anything else in common. We don't have anything in common anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have anything in common anymore. And that's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay. You start forcing a relationship.
Yeah.
We don't know what that looks like.
I know. And honestly, like, just trusting too, like as a business owner, right? We know we have some people we can rely on, some people who we can't, but that's okay. Cause they may have their moments that like life happens and people get entrenched in their thing. I'd rather them deal with their shit than try to force to be present here when they can't be, right? Cause they have, like, for me, from a business, I had a moment where I was like a couple of weeks, I was like, I just have to bare bones because I've got divorce stuff and kid stuff I've got to focus on. And that's okay. You held the bag for us, and that's how it's got to be. But it's about that communication, right? Like, listen, I can't be here right now, but I'm here. And then I'm going to come back full force, and anybody can do that. So you allow people the flexibility. You allow people to just do what they have to do, and to respect what's going on in their present situation, not take it personally. Nothing to do with us, right? Nothing to do with me. If you're not fulfilling on a commitment or something, it's like, you've got something going on. Cool. I'll be here.
Yeah.
As long as you don't like screw me over in some way, but I'm not aligned with anybody that would do that. So
there you go. And I know that this is a little bit like the periphery of the topic, but we're talking about how we make a decision of what we want to learn and how we want to grow, and then we collaborate with others, because really the best learning is having partners, many partners, and I'm going to learn this from you, I'm going to learn this from you. And the thing is when we're collaborating in business, which is also part of that growth, it's frustrating sometimes because everybody's got they're the center of their universe and they have what they're learning. So we have to have a timing. We have to have an agreement. We have to be able to collaborate with one another. So I think what we're both learning. And it's really, it takes age, it takes wisdom, it takes experience, it takes being punched in the you-know-what over and over to come to this place of understanding that when you allow, like you said, the flow of things to come in and to go out as needed and not resist and not fight against, which is kind of the same thing. One's a little bit more aggressive, I think. Yeah. You'll see when you let something go out, because we're seeing relationships fizzle again, with the whole next level thing, they're fizzling again, but we're also seeing new ones start to come in. And how do you know the new ones are right for you? They feel good. How do you know it's time for the old ones to go? They feel icky. It's just the flow and the allowing and the just enjoying the ride. Joy's in the journey.
Joy's in the journey. The other thing is, if you feel, for me, if I feel like an urge to control the situation, right? Because that was a big one for me, is I have to control everything. I've got to work extra hard. I've got to put in the extra hours. I've got to do all the stupid stuff and follow through on the idea without really thinking it through, and got to nurture that relationship that doesn't feel great, but I got to do it. I have to look at myself. I have to take a step back. First, I have to say, is this a necessary thing for my goals, my intentions? Does this feel good? But I have to, it's always a self-reflection. So if if someone doesn't feel good, something feels icky, a situation, experience, a person feels icky, you have to look inward, not what they're doing wrong, but what's inward about what it is, right? Because that's the thing you're working on. There was one of my sponsors in AA. She said, when you point the finger at someone else, you've got 3 pointing back at you. So really, it's not about the other person. It's really about ever. And it's how you respond to that. And how comfortable you are with that ebb and flow is how comfortable you are with yourself.
Yes. Well said. Well,
you're so great.
You're so wonderful. You know, it's funny about the point.
I'm from Garden City. I'm just the smartest.
But it's funny about the pointing thing, because I've never told you this before, but like I say that to my kids all the time in school. Always. Because it was always somebody else's fault. I don't have my homework because my cleaning lady threw out, they were a little prickly. My cleaning lady threw out my homework. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me with this? But I would always do that, you know, when you point, you point out, you're pointing at yourself. But yeah, 100%, man. It's always, what's my motivation? What's my motivation? Why do I feel the need to control? Oh, because I don't trust that what we're doing is going to be successful. Why? Well, because I am fearful that I'm going to fail. Why? Because I don't have worthiness. Why? Because my mother used to let me sleep over at anybody's house that would have me. Okay, now we got to the root of the problem.
You're always about the root, Dana. The root cause.
Oh my God, totally. The root cause. I'm like, yes.
It is.
Exactly.
Oh,
okay. We should wrap it up because we want to keep it under 30.
Yep. Just a quick note about next week. So I am super excited, long time, because I am flying down to Florida with my kiddos on Friday, and we're staying at Casa Scamboloni Sardano, and Dana's going to be a featured artist at this lovely little bistro in whatever town we're going to. I don't fucking know. Florida.
All of a sudden, I'm drawing a blank.
It's a Coconut Creek. Okay, so we will be in Coconut Creek on Friday, and we're actually going to attempt to film a Commando there together. Wish us luck. No idea, but it might be like a 5-minute episode, but we're going to do it that way because, why the hell not?
Yep.
And we don't have lights, so we'll figure it out. Commando.
We'll figure it out. Commando, exactly.
But I'm super excited because taking a little trip with my kids, getting out of this environment, hanging out with you and your fam, and it's going to be great. So with that, we're going to do our little sign off wheel. So stay classy. Good luck. Visit Phenom Publishing to buy our book. It's phenom-publishing.com to buy my book and Dana's books and Paolo's book.
All of the books again. All of the books.
They're all so good.
Again, Mommy.
All right, Dana, let's see what we got.
Okay. In case we get drop call, goodbye, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having us. All right. Ready?
Yeah. That's great.